Hello, everybody.
Hey, everyone. That would be pretty cool. I could just quickly unmute the stream and see if I can hear you guys. One sec.
That works for me.
Yep, it sounds like it's working. I like your interface, by the way. Takes a little getting used to in OBS, but once you have it set up, it's pretty easy to move around if you want to change the scene around a little bit.
I mean, I've been here before, but not since Ramtah's mission came up, anyway.
Well, I would probably start with just grabbing whichever two combination of artifacts you can, and then just go around and scan as many of the runes as you can. I didn't really have a method for keeping track of it. I did find that a little difficult, honestly, like driving amongst the obelisks. You know, pick one of the sections, just drive up one row, down the next row, scan each one that you can, get whatever data you can, and then move on over to the next section. Once you've done all of the different little rune sections, then you gotta go and swap out your artifacts for something else, or at least swap out one of them and repeat the process. And we can talk about the patch notes as well, right?
Yeah, actually, we can do that while we're doing all the scanning. So how about we start with that?
Yeah, I'm going to pull that up here. So I have some of the patch notes in front of me because there's so many changes in there that are really exciting.
There are some good ones.
I haven't even had a chance to try any of them out yet, to be honest. I did the alien runes, and I've been working on a video, which I got to finish up this evening, as a matter of fact, and get out there on the Guardians. All the data that you're scanning right now, I'm going to have a video that basically compiles it into a more coherent form, I suppose you could say, because, you know, if you've just started scanning them, you'll probably notice. But anyone who's in the chat right now that has already done some of the scans, the data you get from them is, let's say it's not, I don't want to put down the person who wrote them, but it's very poorly written. I'm not gonna lie, it's very poorly written. A lot of it sort of conflicts with data that you get from other stuff, and one of my biggest gripes with it at this point is that the one data set that I was joking about and making fun of the other day on my live stream was the one where it talks about their sexuality, you know, that there's two different sexes. You have the male and the female, and that the data that's contained within the obelisk is actually like, it's like, yeah, it's alien porn, right? Turgeon said he wrote up an article that he was passing on. He wanted to get it posted on Galnet, but he didn't think it's going to go up there. Probably won't. But it was great. Fantastic work that he put together there. And one of the things that Ramtah says in that description is that there's tons of images and videos, right? Where are these images? Where's the picture of the Guardians? I want to see what they look like. I want to see the alien porn. Give us our porn, damn you. There's no alien porn to be seen, of course. So I don't know what they look like. I actually put out a call on the Bro Bar and Facebook and Twitter the other day, and I'll just throw this out there if you don't mind to the people that are watching right now as well. I'm looking for the video I'm going to be releasing sometime tonight. I'm looking for Commander's idea of what they think the Guardians or their society or their ships or their planet might look like. And I'm looking for like concept art, any sketches, anything at all. I've had some people throw me some like, stick figure sort of drawings. Anything that I can use in the video just to show what people kind of think the Guardians might look like. And if you do have anything like that, or if you're somewhat artistic and you want to put something together, whether it's drawn or on the computer, you can send it over to me, Commander Josh Hawkins on Twitter or on Facebook, same thing, Commander Josh Hawkins there. Or if you're, on the broadcast Discord, you could certainly just private message it to me, and I will make sure to credit your commander name on the video along with your art.
Yeah.
Well, we do have some idea as to what they look like. This is all taken, of course, from the data sets, from the descriptions of all the data that you get from scanning the obelisks right now. And what we do know, and if you don't have, or if you haven't read through any of the notes that other people have put on the forums, right now, what we know is that they stand upright. They are carnivorous, they're pack hunters, and they have bladed forearms. That they use not only to hunt and kill prey with, but apparently to slice their food into small pieces to put into their small mouths, because that's another thing we know about them. They have small mouths. We also know that they are a technologically advanced species, and that the majority of them have neural implants, although there is a division amongst the populace. Of course, we don't know if they still exist or if this is just all historic, of course. But the populace was divided into the ones who were all for the technology and took the artificial implants, which is meant to connect them to like a neural communications network that sends information faster than the speed of light. So they're all connected. And then you have the other faction that sort of shunned technology and became much more religious. So yeah, you have a religious faction, and then you have the technology faction. And I don't know which one it is. I think it's the technology faction. During a civil war that they had, they experienced a lot of like biological warfare and whatnot, and their skin turned redder than the other ones. So there's like two distinct colorations to their skin. One is like red, and the other one is, well, I don't know, green, purple, blue. I'm not exactly sure what that one is. Plater, it looks like they say that they can't hear you. It says Plater is mute for some reason.
Yeah, I was just seeing that too. I'm not sure what's up with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they wouldn't be able to hear you. I mean, I can hear you. Let me just turn on the volume in this for a second. Huh. Oh, Frogster saying, can hear him now. We can hear him now. Okay, well, there you go. Now they can hear you. I would just double check one thing. Look at you're using OBS for broadcasting. Look at your OBS. You see the little volume meter, and make sure that when you're talking, it's actually moving. Ah, okay. So yeah, they're still saying that they can't hear you. I guess they were hearing Proxim.
Yeah, they can probably. It seems like they can hear me just fine.
Okay, guys. Well, give us a sec here. I'm sure that we'll get that all figured out and try to get the IT professionals on the phone. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
The sad part is, the answer to that is usually no.
Yeah, there's like, well, the stream's over.
Okay, is that any better for anybody?
And make sure to check your little volume thing there to make sure it's moving when you talk.
Yeah, it looks a bit better.
I'm just looking at the chat. Oh, there he is. I can hear, yeah. I can hear you now. Okay, there you go.
Awesome.
Charles McManamy, Sinclair Research, Frogster. I see quite a few people from the Bro Bar. Welcome to Commander Plater and Paroxysmal's ZEN CAST.
ZEN CAST.
I wasn't sure if it was the ZEN CAST because you had like that circle on it.
That's actually it's a really popular symbol for Zen for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I Google search it and that thing comes up everywhere.
That's like almost like an infinity symbol in a sense. It's just like a circle, so I guess it represents wholeness and you know, revolution. No beginning, no end. I don't know. I'm just guessing here.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know much about their beliefs or anything like that. But yeah, it sounded cool, and I like the theory behind it, so I just kind of went with it.
So, which one of you is actually driving in the SRV that I see right now?
That is me, I guess. Well, yeah, I'm the...
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, I see him. I see Paroxysmal is just in front of you over there.
Yeah. When we scan stuff, obviously we're pretending to keep track of what we're scanning. Now, probably should have mentioned what we're carrying in our holds whilst we're doing this. That would have been worth a mention, I think. Now, I am currently carrying an ancient tablet and an ancient relic.
I've got a casket and an orb myself.
Do you guys notice if one of you scans an obelisk that both of you get the data, or no?
It should, is I just got whatever data. Yeah, I just now got a data package that I didn't scan, so I'm getting whatever he gets too.
Oh, there you go. So it is very much like we were saying before you went live. It's very much a community type contract or mission, I suppose you could say. If you are able to get scan data from other people in your wing scanning, you know, being in a full wing or doing this with multi-commanders is certainly going to be much quicker than trying to solve every combination on your own, because from everything that we've seen in the Bro Bar and people mentioning it, it's like 2,000 different combinations, I think, for the number of obelisks.
That's mad.
And,
absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's a lot of scanning.
I guess there's a reason the payout for this all together is 100 mil.
Well, that's just the bonus, actually. We figured that one out. It's you get like 1 million per scan, and there's 81 different scans, I believe, is the current tally on all the different categories. Lore, so you have lore, biology, culture. Oh gosh, you know what? I have this all written down here. Give me 1 sec. I'll pull it up and I'll tell you exactly what we're looking at.
Guys, don't think I'm missing the chat. I understand this probably wasn't particularly well thought out with regards to the wave scanner sound. So I am probably going to do a little bit of tinkering with my sound levels to save everyone's ears, and also my insanity at that.
You can just turn off your HUD in the SRV. That should get rid of it. I think it does, at least. I'm not sure if it turns the sounds off, but I have a good feeling that it actually does turn the sound off. So maybe just turn off your HUD in the SRV, and you can still basically drive around and do all the scanning the same way.
And me personally, I just shut the wave scanner off. It's a lot simpler.
There we go.
Or yeah, I suppose you could do that as well.
Yeah, I just did a simple quick volume change, so hopefully that should be better for everybody.
Yeah, so there's Turgeon saying 181 million credits is the max you could scoop, which is a lot of credits. I mean, for one little mission that only has 2,100 combinations, I mean, yeah. I think it's a great idea, though. Don't you? Like, get get a bunch of people who have not seen the runes to drive over there and participate in this. Even if you don't complete it, you're still going to get tons of credits from every single scan that you get. I mean, minimum people have been pulling in like 14 or 15 million for driving around for an hour, which is not bad at all. I mean, it's better than what you get from a lot of trading or, you know, a little bit of combat.
Yeah, definitely. It's and also it kind of reinforces that variety of gameplay concept that FDev have got, where they want people to enjoy everything they've put into the game, and if there's a decent incentive for you to go out and drive around in your SRV, brilliant.
Yeah. So here are the different categories that you'll find. There's biology, language, culture, technology, and lore. And I don't have the total number of scans that you get for each one of those. I mean, I think they're anywhere from like 15 to 21 per. Oh, hold on 1 second. General Ghost just messaged me in the bro bar. He said, outdated information. He says there are 100 data packs. So that's actually 200 million credits that you can get. So 100 data packs. Well, I guess if General Ghost is listening, then maybe he can fill us in on this one, because I thought that each one of the different scans gave a total number, and I thought those totaled up to 21. So is there another category that we're missing with another 19 scans in there? To wait for him to respond back.
There's the biology tree, which has 19 in it.
Now, is it just the obelisks we should be scanning, or is it the actual relic towers as well when they pop out the ground?
I don't think the relic towers have anything to do with it. I'm pretty sure it's just the obelisks.
Culture, data, history, biology, language. Is that not what I said? Hang on. Did I have that? I have biology, language, culture, technology, and lore. Well, lore is the history one, yeah. Culture, data, history, biology, language. How come mine's different? Biology, language, culture, technology. So he's got data, which I think is supposed to be technology. History is lore. And then biology, language, and culture, those I already have. So yeah, there's only 5. But it looks like there's 100 data packs. So that's great. 200 million credits if you can complete all of the different scans and all the different combinations.
Oh, I know what I'm doing for the next week.
Right. Tony Jackson saying apparently it's up to 36 scans at the current site from Reddit, up from 34. So people have figured out 36 different combinations so far at the site that you're at. Now, I like how we said the current site. Like, are there other sites that we don't know about? That's a possibility. So here, General Ghost just put 21 language, 21 history, 19 biology, 20 data, and 19 culture. Oh yeah, that'll do it. That's 100.
I'd be willing to bet that there's another site somewhere. There almost has to be.
Well, if once you go through the different scans, if you get the ones on their culture and their history, one of the things that they talk about is the fact that when after these civil wars that they had, they started focusing on leaving the planet and going off, because they had a lot of astrometrical data from, you know, science and research. And they started sending off arc ships, similar to the ships that the humans sent off as well. And there were 3 arc ships that were sent off. They traveled at sublight speeds, but they were sent off in different directions. So if this is one of those sites, we don't know. I mean, that's always possible, I suppose. But, I mean, there could be at least 2 other sites out there. Unless this is something else, because part of the data also discusses the fact that they have a obelisk network, which is basically a part of their communications network. So this could just be like a data hub for their communications network, or it could be the remains of one of their original landing sites for one of the ARC ships that they had.
There's got the theories going around since the site was first discovered of what this place actually is. And I always thought that it was like a burial site, or kind of the, mausoleum type place where it's kind of the history of a deceased people almost.
Well, it certainly is history of a people. Whether they're deceased or not, we don't know. In the video that I'm going to be putting out tonight, I'm going to be talking about all of the information that we've got so far, and I may have to update it if there are more scans that have been received, although I have a fairly complete history of it. I was just missing a few of the ones that I guess are now out. But if you watch the video that I put out, we're going to talk about the whole history of them, the lore, the culture, the history, all of the information that we know. And like I said, I've put it into somewhat more of a coherent style. Oh, looks like you just crashed, hey?
Yeah, classic connection error.
Yeah, that site tends to cause that. It's one of the pain in the butt parts of that. But I took all of the different data pieces and removed all of the useless information that's in there and tried to compile it in a way that actually makes sense. Because like I said, no offense to the guy who wrote it, but it's very poorly worded, and there's a lot of contradicting stuff in there. But if you put it together properly, you can make sense of it and get a general picture of, who these people were and what their culture was like and what type of hardships they endured, and the wars that they had and the divisions amongst the people. It's very interesting. It's an incredible story. It's not that dissimilar from the lore of the human race before we became a spacefaring species and culture as well, for Elite Dangerous, which I talk about in one of my very early videos, the Exploring the Milky Way Galaxy video. I did like a sort of a fake history based on Elite lore and tried to pull together some images for it. I'd love to do the same thing for the Guardians, but I just don't have enough pictures of the Guardians to do that, unfortunately.
Now, I'm sure we will get some more information as time goes on, and certainly as usual, the community does all the work for us, and hopefully it brings us something that we can work with.
Ginger Huntsman is asking, can I post a link to his spreadsheet? And I'm assuming he means to the spreadsheet that he's compiled for all the different combinations of things that you're trying to do right now. I don't know how you have your chat set up for live chat. On mine, I know it disables the ability for anyone to post links. So perhaps one of you could post a link to your Discord, and then anyone who wants to jump into your Discord can send you that link. If Ginger Huntsman wants to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, actually, just give me a minute and I will throw a link up to my Discord.
Good stuff.
Ryan Miller's asking how many pics I got for my video on the Guardians. To be perfectly honest, Ryan, I had a few. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 private messages right now, which I have not opened because I got them while I was at work, and I figured if I opened them, they'd get lost amongst the other PMs I've got. So I don't know. I think that those might contain pictures of the Guardians, but to be honest, I have not received a lot. I've got like 2 or 3, and they're mostly just jokey kind of ones. So I don't know if anyone's actually taken the time to do it, but if anyone is still working on it, or if anyone has something that they would like to share with me, I would love to put some people's artwork up on the video. Right now it looks like it might just be more talking and less art. Although, very interestingly, Mars Europe from Sparks, Mars and Sparks had suggested that based on the descriptions that we've seen, they kind of look like the Protoss from StarCraft. And I looked at the pictures of the Protoss, and it does look very similar. I mean, they have like an energy beam that sort of comes off their forearm, like a spike that comes out in the front. But I mean, if I imagine that just being like a sharpened sort of bony protrusion or some type of skeletal protrusion of some kind, I suppose they could look very similar to to the Protoss.
It's interesting to think about. I mean, I suppose there are only so many different ideas around in a kind of sci-fi of what people consider alien until we end up with the same thing that we normally do, which is the Star Trek syndrome, where everyone looks slightly similar but just different shaped ears.
Yeah. Hang on. I'm going to get my Facebook account here for anyone who would like to link me a picture. I just saw that Innocent Gamer is asking how he could send a picture. You can just add Commander Josh Hawkins on Facebook. I'm sure 99% of the people in here have Facebook. So if you have a picture that you want to send over, you can just add Commander Josh Hawkins on Facebook, CMDR Josh Hawkins, and send me a message on Facebook with your picture. I will be more than happy to include it in my video and credit you on there. Just make sure you give me your commander name as well.
Something I did want to mention, actually, I say, Dat Innocent Gamer, I would like to thank you for being on site yesterday when I arrived, putting up a wing beacon and then giving me all of the ancient items so I'd have them ready for today. That was a real big help and a real time saver. That don't maybe take it back though. I will take back any thanks if I have to. Don't get pushy. But yeah, so.
Yeah, YouTube is not letting me post the link. It's being very picky, so I'll have to see if I can find a workaround for it at some point.
If you're trying to post it on his chat, he's going to have to set you as a moderator first in the actual chat. So I don't know if you want to do that very quickly. Just put the two of us as moderators so that we can post links if we want to in the chat. It's pretty easy to do. You just have to click on your little 3 buttons there, and you have some options to set moderators. You just need to include our YouTube names. Peter Yannick, no Facebook. Holy moly. You know that there's this thing called Facebook, right? It's
no Facebook handy. Sounds very third world.
I think they have Facebook in the third world. I'm pretty sure that people in, like, you know, the most obscure countries in the world have Facebook. I think it's more of a personal choice. I avoided Facebook when I first got it. And in fact, I avoided many forms of social media when they first came out, just because, like, I was like, you know, why do I need so many different ways to connect with people that I don't really connect with in a, you know, in any other way? But that's because I grew up before social media and before internet, so it's a little different for me, I suppose. Now it's kind of become an integral part of my life, and I can't avoid it. And I've got Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Reddit and all of that stuff.
I feel like it's a real dark path to go down.
Oh, this is really cool. I just got a picture sent to me from, well, I'm gonna guess this is, yeah, there we go. That's that innocent guy. Very, very cool. I'm not going to show it now. It'll be in the video for sure, but that's a fantastic concept right there. Really cool looking. Very different. This is what I want to see. This is what I was really hoping to get quite a few of in the video if I can, is like, you know, unique outlooks on what the Guardians could possibly look like. He's got these here. I'll just describe it if I can. It's a little difficult, to be honest. It looks like they have like 4 arms coming out from where the shoulders would be that are more like, looks more like tentacles in a sense, and they're walking on them. And then 2 other arms coming out the front that have like the spikes on them that would be used to kill stuff. And then like the top, the head and everything, very cool. Oh gosh, it's really hard to describe. I guess you'll just have to check back when I put the video, and I'll have this up there for sure. Looks really cool. Great job.
Sorry guys, just sorting out the moderator stuff.
No worries. I'm making a fool out of myself with the SRV right now.
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
Ugh. Yeah. Usually I do better than this, but man, I'm having an off day.
It sounds like an excuse to me.
A little bit, maybe. Trying to maintain my dignity, but I don't think it's working very well. And I think I have exhausted this combination. I don't think there's anything left that I haven't scanned with this thing.
Okie doke. You guys should now actually be moderators, so you should be able to paste some stuff in.
Excellent. Let's see. The first thing that I would probably want to put in there is we have on the bro bar, it's a link to the Ancient Ruins site, and it kind of shows the breakdown of, here we go, let me post this up here, which I don't know if this will work. Let's see.
And Dead Innocent Gamer, yeah, I have to agree, high G SRV driving is amazingly fun.
This may or may not work. You guys can let me know in the chat if that link I just posted works or not. And I'll send that to you as well on Discord if you haven't already seen it. So you guys can check this out. This is another way of determining the right combinations. Here, send that to you. And to you. There you go. Okay, well, they're all saying it works. So that's great. And if you want to take a look at that plater, the picture is basically just like a breakdown. It shows the different sections. I think this came from Canon originally, by the way. So we have Canon to credit on putting this together. Commander Zenith D. Draglass, it says right on there. And if I'm not mistaken, that is from Canon. But it shows you the location of the different artifacts, and it shows you which obelisks you can scan for data. And I think he's circled each, or not circled, but like marked off each one of the sections of obelisks with a particular color to show you which ones you want to bring over there for the individual ones.
Okay. Well, I think I've scanned everything I can with the combination of stuff I've got at the moment, so it's going to be the case of heading back to the ship and changing things over.
Yeah, I just switched out too.
Oh, that's wishful thinking.
I think I exhausted it. Okay, so here's something that I've been really curious about. The hyperdictions, quote unquote, that we've been having, are those Thargoids? Are those... I've had a lot of people tell me that they think it's one of the... I guess the word you'd call it is a subspecies of Thargoid. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Oresrian or whatever it is.
Oresians?
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
I have no idea how to pronounce it. What do you guys think about that? Honestly, I don't know enough about them to make a call, but people have been telling me they think it's them.
Well, again, I don't know the exact breakdown of it. If we had Shibuka in here with his tinfoil hat on, I'm sure he can tell us all about it, because he's like our lore master when it comes to all things Thargoids. But whether it's the sub-faction of Thargoids or whether it's just the straight-up Thargoids, I don't know. I want to say it is Thargoids just because, I mean, if we just sort of remove ourselves from the game for a second and look at this from like a developer standpoint, Elite already has a rich background and like background story and lore for the Thargoids. So to create a whole other race of aliens and then bring them in, it's a lot more work when they already have all of this stuff created from the original Elite games. And I'm sure that the Elite players from wherever it was, the 80s or the 90s with the original games would love to see the Thargoids, because that's what they're expecting to come in. So I want to say that from that aspect, I would believe it is Thargoids. Now, this whole Guardians thing, we know that this is another race, and this is something else that's being introduced, but we don't know if we're going to see the Guardians in any gameplay or if it's just going to be adding to the lore of the game. So as far as the interdictions go, I'm going to go with Thargoids. And I think there's a lot of things kind of pointing to that, or hinting that it is in fact Thargoids. As far as like the octagonal shaped ships from the original Elite Dangerous, now we're seeing like these petals with like 8 petals coming out of it. I think that's how people have been describing it, like petals coming out of the ship.
Yeah, there's been a lot of the words flower or flower attacks being kicking around, and I know I'm going to get lynched for saying attacked or attack, as everyone has pointed out, that just being inspected, because that's all that's happened, is not an attack. I've taken the feedback on board.
And there's also the fact that the Thargoids pulled people out of witch space, which is exactly how the original encounter happened as well. So that also is pointing towards Thargoids.
And now that we're on that subject, have you guys seen any of the pictures of the logs that people are getting from the settlements in the Formidine Rift area?
I have, yeah. Well, I mean, Shibuka's been posting them. Yesterday, at least, he was posting them nonstop. Every single one of the logs that came up. So I had the opportunity to read through them, and it looks like it was some type of expedition where they were having trouble with their frameshift drive and ended up dropping out of witch space. Every time they tried to jump in, they'd drop out. And I don't know why they said they found a habitable planet, because the planet that they're on certainly doesn't look habitable to me. But I think that's just the fact that we don't have the ability to land on habitable planets. So, you know, it was habitable in the sense that they could set up a habitat there, but it's certainly not the type of place where you're going to walk outside and catch a tan, you know?
Yeah.
Did you read through them yourself?
I read through most of the logs from all 3 sites, and there was one of them in particular that mentioned specifically being pulled out of hyperspace by a vessel of some type. I mean, I'm kind of guessing based on the wording, but it looked like they were being hyperdicted, kind of in Thargoid style almost. It was very interesting, and some of the comments he was making, you know, certainly made it feel that way. So I'm wondering if there's maybe more going on out there than we think.
There's also... sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Charles McManamy just put in chat, he said it's the Conflux one that was hyperdicted.
Okay.
Yeah, the Conflux one has been... Yeah, that one's been discovered, Jerome. We've got all 3 of the settlements have been found.
Something I just wanted to mention is that obviously they're saying they found a planet that's suitable for settlement and habitable. That was then, and obviously now it doesn't look so habitable now, but that doesn't mean that something didn't happen.
Turgeon is saying, he quoted, we made it to a system with a habitable planet, I think it said, but didn't specify the buildings were on that planet. So yeah, that is true. I don't recall the exact quote of what it said on the data set, but if what Turgeon's saying is that the system itself has a habitable planet, but they may not have necessarily landed there. They might have had to, they might have been forced to land on the non-habitable one.
It could have also been, I mean, tinfoil hatting for just a second here. It could have also been a transmission that settlement received from somewhere else also. Though that may not necessarily have been their log that we were reading, which could make for an interesting little hunt out there. Because I think, assuming for a moment that it's either light speed or sublight, I think EDSM said there's 27 systems within 33 light years of of the Formidine Rift site, which it shouldn't take too long to search those and see if there's a habitable around. At least I wouldn't think.
Like what Commander Lofen's saying in chat, he says he believes the Guardians are extinct, though I always had the crazy tinfoil hat theory that the site you're in is housing a craft deep underground, because why not? That would be super cool. I'd love to see what the Guardian ships actually look like. I mean, the fact that they were supposed to be ecologically friendly, a very ecologically friendly species. They don't like using rockets or explosives. Everything they do is EM propulsion and kinetic based. So their ships would probably be like some type of electromagnetic propulsion. They also developed the ability to travel faster than light as well. just looking at their technology, like these runes and everything, they would certainly look a lot different from the other ships that we've seen, the hyperdicted ships so far, which are much more organic in nature. I imagine theirs would probably look more like the runes, you know, sharp edges with sort of like glowing holographic glyphs all over the place. Be very, very cool to see those. I hope there's one buried underground so we can excavate it and fly it around.
That would be incredible. Extra ships,
that would be awesome.
But not human ships. That's what we're talking about. That would be incredible.
Well, that's something that we've kind of hoped for a long time in the game. We've discussed it many times on the broadcast before, is the ability to fly alien ships. And, you know, if they introduced another species into the game, and I don't remember if we were talking about the AIs and saying that, you know, maybe those mystery ships that were flying around were controlled by AIs. We had a conversation about AI at some point, that it would be really unfortunate if they just flew the exact same ships as we did. It would just be like a big downer and -1 points for FDev for lack of creativity. But if they are going to add alien species into the game, I don't want to just be able to see them. I'd love to be able to fly them. I think that would be super cool, is to have like a whole new set of ships. They have the models for them, you know, if they're adding them into the game, of course. Why not be able to give us the ability to fly around in them?
Now, in chat, C3 Geeky O, witty, I like it. He said, what if the barnacles were underground ships being grown? Now that's an interesting one. Now I actually have a theory about barnacles and the potential Thargoids, and I'm going to share it, and people are going to tell me I'm insane because I've overthought this massively. But here we go. So, as we know, UAs appear to be of Thargoid origin, and I say appear, it's not 100%, but let's assume they are for a minute. Now they damage pretty much everything they come in contact with the exception of meta-alloys. Now, meta-alloys are being grown out of these barnacles, so what if the barnacles are from a different alien species who are leeching these materials out of planets, and essentially it's a crop that they're intending to come and collect on, that we've stumbled across in order to defend themselves against these aliens who are also returning at the same time.
So the barnacles are leeching the resources from the planet.
Yeah.
And then what, turning them into meta-alloys?
That's what I'm going with. Because when you read about what's in meta-alloys, it's essentially just a bunch of reasonably normal stuff just configured in a certain way. So, yeah, that's my big grand theory.
And the meta-alloys do seem to be kind of multi-purpose, right? I mean, they can repair damage damage caused by the artifacts, so
it would kind of make sense, because I don't think they're of the same origin as the Thargoid ships we're talking about. They don't, whilst biological, they don't appear to be quite similar, and at the same time there's also the fact that they have what looks like, anyway to me, Bernard's Loop sitting there right on the top of them. So I think that's an indication of where they could be.
Here's an interesting theory from Jerome. He says, I think the Thargoids are like cicadas, dormant for a long time, then boom, out by the billions. That would be cool. I'm not opposed to seeing giant swarms of Thargoid ships, as long as all the little ones that come out aren't quite as powerful as the big one. Because if we are going to have a war, and we don't know, maybe there's a war, maybe there's no war, maybe we'll all get along peacefully. I highly doubt that. I think there's too many commanders that are going to shoot them to bits.
Oh, you can't mention shooting the ships, not on my channel, because I may or may not have slipped and hit the trigger during my encounter, which once again everyone has told me was the incorrect thing to do. But
well, that's okay. I can't hold that against you. I think I have a memory of the very first visit to the alien rune site. I blew up something there. I don't remember what it was. An orb? I'm sure Turgeon can tell me. I think it was an orb that was on the ground. I said, what happens if we shoot this? And I shot it. And of course, I got yelled at for potentially starting an interstellar war.
We got worse than that. You blew it up. We played Rocket League with it.
Oh yeah, well, see, that would have been more fun to do. Just kick it around a little bit. I just pulled out the guns. I was like, this is what science is all about. You got to break things into their smaller components and see what they're made out of. Of course, I didn't think that maybe somehow the orb was, still active and connected to the alien network, and maybe it could have contained something else that was important. But yeah, I just shot it.
Love that. Charles McManamy says, but shooting is elite dangerous science.
Exactly.
That sounds exactly like my kind of theory. I like it.
Well, because they don't give us proper scientific tools. We got to use what we got, right?
Exactly.
I mean, if all you have is a hammer, you're going to use that hammer to investigate things.
Yeah. Oh,
everything looks like it needs nailed.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, that rock looks like it needs to be hammered. That spaceship looks like it needs to be hammered. That alien, well, let's see what happens with the hammer.
Well then.
Now, obviously, with it being a scripted event, and I think we've all decided it's basically an interactive cutscene to a certain extent. I'm going to talk about when I shot on it, and nothing happened. You could see shield impacts on the ship scanner on the bottom left, but that was it. And I must admit, I was expecting a little bit more. But I guess we will have to wait for something bigger to happen.
Yeah, I watched, I don't remember whose video it was, one particular commander in a Corvette just go wild. I mean, like, open up every gun bank he had and unload it on him. And I think some other commanders have actually flown and rammed the alien vessel as well. So I know that people are trying to destroy them. Because, I mean, let's be honest, that would be just as historic as meeting one, right? As I'm the first one to blow one up. Your name goes down in history, of course.
Well, there's already someone that's claimed they've blown one up. Tony Curtis says he blew it up, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt that too. I mean, it is a scripted event. We know that. So, I mean, from a development standpoint, they would not allow the ship to be blown up because it's meant to be like an interactive cutscene, so to speak. And I don't think that you can blow it up in any way, shape, or form, unless you're hacking the game somehow.
Yeah, agreed. One thing to also, I think, consider is everyone's talking about the interaction count, or the tick, between shooting them and not shooting them during the encounter, and what the potential outcomes could be from there. Now, I'm not sure, and the reason why I'm not 100% sure this would be the case is because I don't think there have been anywhere near as many encounters now. In fact, they're like really few and far between. So if we're working on like a decent sample size, you've got the initial everyone in that first 24-hour period, and then suddenly it's over. Then you don't have a proportionate sample size.
Well, I guess, from the gameplay aspect of it, if they continue the encounters on a regular basis, then that would indicate that there was a lot of these ships, right?
Yeah.
And I think what they're trying to show is that there are some of them, they're here, but they're not yet here in full force. This is kind of like a scouting party that's, checking out the ships that are flying around that area. And I think the big fleet is soon to come. I think we'll see that hopefully in the next month.
I do think it's going to end in conflict. I'm definitely I can only see it in going in one direction. I mean, look at who's running the Federation.
Well, you know what? I mean,
the Terminator.
I am all for diplomacy and having a peaceful coexistence with another alien species. But there are no diplomacy gameplay elements in Elite Dangerous. And so that would be a very boring addition to the game. It's like, oh, cool, look, there's alien ships, and what can you do with them? Well, nothing. You can talk to them. No, you can't. Actually, you can only read about them on Galnet News and see what the NPCs have been talking to them about, because you don't have any way to communicate with AI ships or NPC ships in this game. There's no diplomacy tools. There's no chat options. You can't communicate with NPC ships, pirates, or psychopaths when they interdict you. I mean, you're basically just stuck with whatever they have decided to do is the way that it works. So if it was a peaceful coexistence with the aliens and they hyperdict you just because maybe to them that's a normal thing to do, it's like, hey, buddy, I just saw you passing by, so I figured I'd pull you out of hyperspace. And they just want to stare at you and check you out. Well, that's all you're going to be doing is just staring at each other. So obviously someone's going to start a war, and that's going to add more gameplay elements into the game. Although, unfortunately, it's really just going to be on the side of combat. And not that that's entirely a bad thing on its own. I mean, combat's fun, and I'm sure if the alien ships are, you know, maybe fly different or fight different than the ships that we're fighting right now, it could make combat more interesting. And, you know, with the addition of multi-crew coming up, and they've said that multi-crew is going to focus on combat, maybe you're going to need a couple of ship launch fighters and someone manning a turret or managing resources on a ship in order to take one of these things out. They'll be much more challenging, but I think that's it. I think that's all we're going to see until FDev adds in a proper form of diplomacy where you can have like dialogue options with the aliens. So I don't really see how it's supposed to go the other way. You know what I mean? Like, I think it has to go combat.
Yeah, they do. They definitely limit the interaction methods. So you are left with the shooting, scanning, or as you said, just waving through the window.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think war, it's inevitable.
Yep.
And I just got a connection error myself, so give me a minute and I'll come back in.
If you want dialogue options and that sort of thing, you got to go play Mass Effect.
Yeah. On the topic of Mass Effect, actually, someone in chat was talking about the Thargoids being similar to the Collectors. Working on that theory, does that mean the Guardians were the Protheans, weren't they?
I'm not familiar with Mass Effect creatures, and I hate to say it, I have only ever played the very first Mass Effect, and I never finished it. I didn't get into it. It was, at the time, just I didn't have the time to invest into the full game. So I played it for a little bit, and I was like, this is kind of cool, and then moved on to other things. But I'm looking at some artwork for the Collectors that you just mentioned, and they are really wicked looking.
Yeah, they're special. They're something, but very intimidating, just because of the alien nature of them.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I'm pretty sure we're going to have all-out war with whatever alien race we encounter, because people are never going to look at something that looks so different than a human and not feel like somehow threatened by this weird-looking creature, right? I mean, look at these things. Look at any well-drawn concept art for what a completely non-humanoid alien is going to look like, especially if they have spikes or claws. We automatically assume menacing. It's like bugs. People look at bugs and think, oh my god, that thing's going to bite me. Well, no, in most cases bugs are not going to bite you, and they're just minding their own business, and you know, we step on them anyhow. But that's probably what we'll think of alien races if we meet them. It's hard to avoid.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's very typical of human nature, is to be quite xenophobic with regards to anything different, and that's definitely a survival instinct. So yeah, I guess that's probably going to tie into the game quite nicely, where it's like, oh no, we can't have aliens coming into our space and all this kind of stuff, and it's like, oh, who said it's ours?
Honestly, with the amount of space that we have available to us in 3303 Elite Dangerous, you know, there's plenty of it to share with other aliens. It's not like we're protecting one planet and just the resources on that one planet. We've found hundreds, if not thousands, of habitable worlds that all have the same resources as what we have back on Earth. And there's no reason why two intelligent, advanced species would not be able to cooperate and live peacefully together. The only thing that would stop that is that sort of tendency to be xenophobic or, you know, phobic of anything different than what we are. And unfortunately, I think that's all too well ingrained into our species. And so, yeah, war is somewhat inevitable. But they could have two factions, right? Like they could have like the ones that but I think it's going to work both ways, of course. If you have two factions on the alien side, you're probably going to have two factions on the human side of things as well. You'll have the ones that are against the aliens and the ones that are pro-aliens. So be very interesting to see how that all plays out in the game.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting times ahead for everyone involved. And obviously, the theories are going to be flying absolutely wild. And I'm certainly interested to hear what anyone else has to say about it. So if you do have any crazy theories, guys, please do pop it in the chat. Josh is keeping a keen eye on there because I'm too busy crashing my SRV and getting it wedged between two obelisks. Surprisingly more than I thought I would. So
it's hard to talk and play and think at the same time. I was saying that earlier. It's actually a really nice change for me to be just like sitting here and watching someone else play and being able to see what people are typing in the chat. It's like, wow, I don't have to think about two separate things at the same time. I'm a terrible multitasker. I'm a monotasker, really. I do one thing at a time, and I try to do it as best as I can. Two things, oh, pushing it. Three things, yeah, forget about it. Not going to happen.
Actually, Turgeon's just thrown out a rather interesting theory. We'll start by fighting the Thargoids, then encounter a third, more dangerous alien, the Guardians AI, and we'll have to ally with the Thargoids to defeat them.
Well, that would maintain the holy trinity of video games, you know, and that's really where you see the most success in video games that are like multiplayer, is when you have three factions instead of just two. Because with the two factions, you always have that sort of that split, the split feelings. You know, half of the faction wants to fight, the other half doesn't, and same thing on the other side. You have like the aggressive and then the more passive. But with three factions, it gets more complex and it adds so much more gameplay value to the game as well, you know, because then you have factions teaming up and then you can still have that sort of split feeling where some people are aggressive and some people are passive. And then you always have to take a look at if one is much more powerful than the other two, then you have to team up with the other faction in order to fight them. So it ends up being very interesting. And I hope that's the case. I would love to see Thargoids or Guardians and a third species pop in that that is going to come in at the same time.
Now,
I don't know if they'll do that though. Be a lot of modeling work. Very,
I guess, StarCrafty almost when we're talking about that there, and certainly it does. It adds that real contrast. Three very, very different races.
Oh yeah,
and the way they come together, it's pretty impressive.
Well, I don't know how many people here played Dark Ages of Camelot, but in like MMOs with PvP and open world and all of that stuff, having the tri factions really makes a big difference as opposed to having a game where you just have two factions. It's such a game changer.
It really changes the motives. I feel, and the thoughts behind it. You know, what drives people. That innocent gamer.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at too.
That's fantastic.
What if they start combat logging?
Well, then we report them for being in breach of the end user license agreement, and we see what happens.
Yes, that's it. Just make sure you get it captured on video so you can report it on the forums.
Screenshots, all the screenshots.
That's hilarious. There's Space Explorer Elven Tree saying he played Albion in Dark Ages of Camelot.
I can't say I've come across it or played it as a game.
No,
I have not.
For shame.
Great.
It was. I mean, for Realm versus Realm, Dark Ages of Camelot was. I don't know if I wouldn't say it was the first one to do Realm versus Realm. I mean, obviously, you had other games out like World of Warcraft always had, the Horde and the Alliance. But DAOC, I think, was the first one that came out with the 3 separate Realm versus Realm. So you get into like these RVR scenarios where, one faction would be attacking another one's base, and then the third faction would come in and just steamroll everyone. Or you'd have one faction attacking another one, and then the third one would come in, and then you'd have this massive tri-factional skirmish happening, and it just incredible huge battles. It was tons of fun. Dead Innocent Gamer says they'll ban the entire alien race for combat logging.
I would love to see how that would work out. That'd be pretty impressive. Or limit them just to solo.
Proximal, was that you that was saying that we had found all 3 settlements from the Formanin Rift?
I believe we had. Okay. I thought so. I know for sure I've seen 2, and someone said they were homing in on 3 yesterday. So I would assume that they'd been there by now. That was 24 hours ago when they said that.
Jerome was just asking if Hawkins Gap had been found yet.
I
believe so. I could always poke the people I know that do all the science stuff and see what they know.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I cannot do the science stuff myself. So me being here scanning stuff, this is crazy. I feel like Animal from the Muppets trying to be calm and polite and nice. That's some fancy driving from Proxim there.
SRV Trickster.
I just heard my doorbell ring, and I'm waiting for someone to come take a look at my house. So I know that he's popped in here right now. He will probably be opening the door up in just a second here. I think my wife's greeted them and let them in. So I may have to go AFK here for a minute or so, but I'll stick around until I know if I have to or if she's got it under control.
No worries.
Yeah, no worries at all. We've come towards that cat feeding time, because I've got a ship's cat, and any minute he's going to start shouting. So thankfully, Mrs. Plater will be taking care of that.
I do want to just take a very quick second and say for anyone who's in the chat right now, to make sure to wish, if you have Odin Omen on Twitter or on Facebook, make sure to wish him a happy birthday today. It is his birthday, and he's been a he's been supporter of my channel for quite some time, and I always see him commenting on content. So just wanted to wish him a happy birthday if he is watching. Happy birthday, Odin, and anyone else who's got him on Facebook or Twitter, make sure you wish him a happy birthday as well.
Have we got more theories coming through? UAs are cryogenic systems for the Guardians?
Alien refrigeration. Interesting.
I don't think that they are part of the Guardians. It doesn't either. It doesn't seem like they would be. The UAs have much more in common with the supposed Thargoid ships. I mean, we'll say Thargoid, quote unquote, ships. You know, in the sense that they're more organic and they have a similar sort of sound to them as well. What we know about the Guardians is that, well, they mentioned as far as their earlier ships, they had like, what did they say? They were using like electromagnetic propulsion, not electromagnetic propulsion, excuse me, like an electromagnetic catapulting system to launch their ships off the planet. And so in order to help the pilots survive the intense G-forces that they experienced when they launched them up this thing, they had like a pod filled with liquid. And that's the only thing that sort of sounds similar to the UAs or the UPs, is it's sort of like a liquid filled, or it looks kind of like it's liquid filled. But that's just the capsule where they would remain, and the rest of the ship, I don't know what it would look like. I imagine it would look, again, kind of more similar to what we're seeing here in these obelisks, more metallic looking than organic.
Someone actually suggested to me that the unknown artifacts were potentially baby Thargoid ships, and they left me a comment on one of my videos, and they were suggesting that us picking up UAs was actually an act of aggression. Which I think is pretty far out there as far as suggestions go, but certainly I could see the thinking behind it at least.
Oh, here Turgeon has just mentioned, he said the Thargoid ship's engines are identical to the caps of the UAs and the UPs. Just saying, wink wink. So yeah, there you go. It's true. It's hard to see, and I have not actually like captured any screenshots of the back of the ship, but you can see, like, if you've witnessed the encounter yourself firsthand, you can always take a look at the back of the ship as it's flying, and you see like there's 4 points on the back of the ship that have like this little glowing thing, and I'm assuming those are the engines that Turgeon is referring to. They're circular, they're stuck onto 4 of the pedals, and they sort of emit like a trail that comes out of them as the ship is moving forward. They do kind of glow, and if I remember correctly, I think it was glowing with sort of like a reddish or pinkish sort of glowing. So yeah, that does look very much like the UAs or the UPs.
Yeah, definitely. There's so much for us to try and work out on our own, which is very classic FDev. Kind of here's a hint of something, go work it out for yourselves, and then when we hit it, that's when we kind of get that little reward of confirmation.
Well, there's some interesting data that you're going to see on the Guardians, and I'll discuss this a lot more in the video that I'm going to be putting out later tonight. But they do talk about the fact that the Guardians were very advanced in terms of bioengineering, and that they used creatures in combat. So there are some interesting theories to be had from that perhaps they created the Thargoids, or that the Thargoids are somehow like a genetically modified creature that was used by the Guardians in war, and maybe they just became like their own species after that. There's a lot of different ideas, and once we uncover more of this data, I'm fairly certain that if anyone does manage to complete the full data set, Ramta is going to have tons more information to give to us, and we might start seeing connections like that. It'll be very cool.
It's very similar to the xenomorph from Aliens, when we're talking about that kind of thing, especially with Prometheus giving us a little bit of a hint at that type of stuff. Obviously, spoiler alert. Oops.
Yeah. Well, spoiler alert. Has anyone seen Alien Covenant, the teaser trailer that they've put out so far? Oh my god. Have you seen that?
I need tickets.
Oh,
I need tickets. Yeah. It looks amazing.
I love the fact that, I mean, they finally made a movie that is, again, part of the Alien franchise, and this is supposed to be a continuing immediately after Prometheus. But in this one, you actually see the aliens. I think we're going to learn the origin of the alien in this one, and there's definitely a xenomorph in it. It is like the true-to-life xenomorph from the original Alien movies, and it looks very much like it's returned to its horror roots, because the Prometheus, I didn't find it that scary. It was more like an action sci-fi thriller than a sci-fi horror movie. And that's what I liked about the original Alien movies, is that they were sci-fi horror, and they were amazing, scary as all hell.
Yeah, agreed. It's that anticipation where it's gonna get you. It's just when.
Yep.
But
I'll never open my closet again. I swear to God.
You guys would probably lynch me for saying this, but I've never actually watched the Alien movies.
Oh, come on, Paroxym.
So I gotta go. How could you not watch the Alien movies?
I've just never gotten around to it.
Well, you should get around to that before Covenant comes out.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna go and watch Rogue One later on tonight. So.
Another fantastic movie.
Yeah, no spoilers, please. If you guys spoil it, I'm gonna be so mad.
I won't spoil anything. I'm just gonna say it's one of the darkest Star Wars I've watched, and probably one of my favorite as well.
Yeah, agreed. It's great. It's a warfare. It's a Star Wars film. It's war, and it feels like it too.
Dead Innocent Gamer saying Alien has never been horror for him. I will say, Dead Innocent Gamer, I don't know when you watched the first Alien, and I'm just gonna double check when it actually came out. It was 19.
I want to say 79.
The very first one was 1979. So wow. I was 2 years old when Alien first came out, and my parents didn't go out to movie theaters or anything because they had me and my sister, who was already born at that point, and they didn't go out and spend money in theaters, especially with 2 young kids at the house. So I think we got it on VHS probably when I was around 6, and that's when I watched the first Alien movie. It was I'm gonna say that my dad made a really big mistake letting me watch that movie because he had to pay for it after, with me being like terrified of walking upstairs or going down to the basement. And I'm sure for like a good month or two, I had that terrified feeling that every time I turned a corner, an alien was going to jump out and bite my face off. But yeah, when you watch it when you're 6 years old, it's a lot scarier than you watch it as an adult. So I don't know how old you were when you first watched it, but yeah.
I actually watched the first of the trilogy, because we won't talk about Resurrection, because well, let's just not talk about it. I watched Aliens first, and that was the first one I watched because it wasn't so psychological, and that's my dad's thinking. He was like, "Oh no, you like it because it's shooting aliens with guns," and I was very much into wargaming at the time, so for me it all fitted in. I was like, "What? They're Marines? They're in space? They're shooting people?" I was like, "Yes, I'm in. There are aliens." And then, man, it got really really intense really fast.
Yeah, I remember when Aliens came out. I mean, what a nice change from the first one, because I wasn't scared at that point. I'd already gone through the terror phase of watching the first Alien movie as a young boy, and then the next one came out in 1986. So, I was I was in high school. I'd already watched plenty of other movies that were scary, and going back and he's not with us anymore, unfortunately, but when he was alive, he was a big collector of like movies and CDs and anything like that. Like music and movies was his big buff. So for him to collect Alien, the movie that he absolutely loved, and I don't think he realized that it was going to be that scary when he first got it, but he put it on and let me watch it. I don't think my sister watched it, and yeah, that didn't work out so well.
Now, I think I've had a massive disconnect.
Yeah, whatever happened, it interrupted the stream for a minute.
Yeah, I saw the stream froze up there for a couple seconds.
Well, are we still frozen? I think we are.
It might be freezing a little bit. Well, there you go. We're experiencing technical difficulties.
You thought ahead.
Yeah, I did think ahead.
Good.
Yeah.
Joshua Ruskoff said, "Hey Josh, ever played or thought about playing Alien Isolation?" Yes, I have it on the Xbox. I wish I would have bought it on the PC, because now I have Oculus, and it looks like I honestly I don't think I could play it in Oculus. I watched Shibuka play it in Oculus. He's got some videos up on his channel of him playing Alien Isolation. I don't think I could do it. As not scared about watching the movies as I am now, because I just love the movies and I'm super obsessed with them. Immersing myself into the alien world and having that damn thing jump out from who knows what. When I did play it, I spent probably 20 minutes sitting in a locker waiting for the alien to go, and then I was like, I don't know if he's gone yet. I don't know if he's gone yet. I better just stay in here longer. So playing it in Oculus, I'd probably just put it on, cry, pee my pants, and then take it off and give up.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Alien Isolation. I keep trying it over and over again, and I keep making it to the same point where I'm like, why can't I just run out and start shooting people? Because I'm far too first-person shooted to be able to handle it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those games that unfortunately you just really don't have any other way to interact with the game other than just moving around and trying not to get killed. You can't just go around and shoot stuff, unfortunately. It's an interesting twist on the game, though. I mean, it makes you feel very much like Ripley from the first Alien movie. She's got no weapons. She's kind of alone in this ship and just trying to stay alive. So they did capture that.
They do a great job with that kind of that sweatiness of it, because in the original Alien films and Aliens, it's that moist, clammy, constantly sweat, nervous thing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, the new one, like I said, Alien Covenant. If you haven't watched the trailer yet, guys, go check that out. It looks fantastic. If you like the Alien films, I think we're going to be in for a treat. I'm really hoping that it turns out to be as good as I'm expecting it to be. And if we find out the origins of the aliens, we get to learn about them and where they came from and all of that. Very exciting stuff. Think the engineers created them? Think they engineered them, like biomechanical engineering or genetic engineering or whatever it is?
I personally think, yeah, that's exactly what's happened. They've got up in there and they've made a mistake, and their own technology's got ahead of them.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay, so thankfully you're back in and scanning. Now, this goes out to everyone in the chat. Now, can you tell me, are we meant to be seeing more of the obelisks come up, or are we talking about, is it the same ones we go around and scan? Because it's something that I'm looking at and I keep having the same ones that are scannable and not the others.
I'm thinking it's the same ones. I'm seeing the same. I'm seeing that too. It looks like they refresh after a couple of minutes after you scan it. At least that's what it looks like.
Same ones. Okay. I'm going to have to restart my game client, guys, because I am running at about 30 frames a second, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, sorry, I'm back.
Back.
Well, you know what? I may take this opportunity then to thank you guys very much for having me on, but I'm probably going to have to get going here. So you can restart your game, and I'll just say again, thank you, both of you guys, for having me on. It was really fun to hang out with you guys and chat about alien stuff and Guardians and everything. And thanks for everyone in the chat for coming on over and hanging out with us in the stream. Plater, Paroxysmal.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Thank you for
Absolutely,
joining us.
man.
No problem. You let me know if you guys are running another stream next weekend, and let's see what my Saturday's looking like. I may jump in here and say hi again.
We'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll see you guys tomorrow on the broadcast. I don't know if you guys will be jumping on, but I'll definitely be back on tomorrow. So on my channel, 3 p.m. Catch you all there.
All right, man. Take it easy.
See you then.
Take care, guys.
Now, myself and Proxim, we're going to carry on going. We're going to be talking about some other things now, because I feel like we've really beaten the alien mystery to death now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Now we're going to talk about one of Proxim's areas of expertise, and that is going to be engineering and weapon updates, because, as I've always said, I know nothing about that type of thing. I just do what I think looks nice, and half the time it'll do. So, Paroxysmal, let's start us off.
Okay. I'm actually going to pull up the patch notes from this last one here, because there is some pretty interesting stuff in there. Of particular interest to me is the changes that they made to some of the engineering blueprints. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Here we go. Engineers, autoloader improved and ammo penalty removed. That is actually pretty big. Autoloader wasn't ever used a whole lot, and it can be because of the ammo penalty, for one. And it just, yeah, you just didn't get much out of it. So what they did is it was loading an extra round for every 3 that was fired, but now it's 1 for every 2. So you're getting a heck of a lot more out of it. And the ammo penalty being gone means, oh, yeah, you're going to shoot for a long time without reloading, which is great for multi-cannons especially. The dispersal field damage, that one I'm not too fussed about. Here's one that everyone's going to like. Okay, concordant sequence regeneration amount doubled and lasts twice as long. That's pretty big. A lot of people have been using healing builds, especially in PvP, and the regen amount being doubled. Oh boy, that's going to get interesting. I'm pretty sure, at least I would think, that everyone is familiar with the shield changes that got introduced recently.
I'm a little bit familiar because I really, really needed the help in my Corvette.
Yeah. Okay. So with the regen amount being doubled and lasting twice as long with concordant sequence, a ship that can equip class 6, 7, and 8 shields, especially bi-weaves, is going to benefit from that big time. I don't know. You and I went bounty hunting here a couple of days ago, and even you could see that the vet that I was piloting at the time was able to regen its shields on its own without using a shield cell bank pretty easily. Concordant sequence literally is going to it's like a built-in shield cell almost, without the ridiculous heat generation. It's freaking great.
Now, Darkness and Gamer pointed out the reboot and repair as well, which comes into, I guess, under the umbrella of recharging shields and stuff, because certainly it does that change there where you as long as you're not in combat, you can reboot and then bam, your shield's at 50%. That's a godsend in my mind.
Oh, heck yes. If you're out of combat and your shields are down, yeah, you might as well. As long as you're moving, slowly and you don't get hit during the entire time you're doing the reboot repair. Oh yeah, that'll help. Like there's like the cutter, for instance. People shield tank the heck out of that thing. It's going to take them 15 minutes just for their shields to come back up. So yeah, it'll make some of that stuff a lot easier. I mean, it's really nice. But I do like they added you can't get hit during that, because if you're in active combat, it almost seems a little cheaty just to reboot and repair, and then ta-da, 20 seconds later, there's your shields back. It's a little cheaty. So I kind of like that they added that.
Yeah, definitely a smart move from a balancing point of view, and this is
oh heck yes, absolutely.
Balancing. Oh blimey, balancing.
Yeah. Speaking of
sorry, go ahead.
Balancing, I was gonna say, speaking of balancing, they're actually doing pretty well for the most part. I will say everyone's favorite griefing ship, the FDL, not as powerful as it was previous to this patch, at least not in comparison to some of the other ships. It did take kind of a hit just with the way the weapons are working out. So hopefully we're going to see people using other stuff now. So there should be some more variety coming into the game, which is going to be great.
Much needed, because I mean everyone does kind of gravitate towards that one particular build that is the best. And I tell you what, I'm getting connection errors all over the place here. I don't know about you, Paroxsymal. How's your game client running?
It's doing okay. I haven't noticed anything. I've had the one disconnect, so it's not been that bad.
I'm gonna. I know. I think we're gonna blame aliens. That's all I've got really.
They're good.
Always. Oh my god, they're good. As we said before, everyone loves a meme.
Koldza, yes, actually, I would love that. Here's what he says. He says, I wouldn't mind them changing the crew member death mechanic. I just lost a crew member that I trained from harmless to deadly to a station's shield generator attack. I would love if they changed that, because I had a crew member yesterday that I had trained. You remember, Plater, I had the fighter out and I was training that crew member?
Yep.
I lost that crew member yesterday.
Well, he sucked, so he got what he deserved.
He was, you know what? She was doing a lot better. Then the player group that I'm in does Friday flight school, so I can teach people how to pilot better. One of them forgot to turn their crimes off, and I shot them, and then the station shot me, and that was 20 mil out the window in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, stations take no prisoners whatsoever. I need station weapons. That's my next upgrade. Give me an engineer that can give me station level weapons. Yes, please.
Oh God, yes, that'd be amazing. Here's one for all of you shield tankers out there that have paper hole underneath your shields. Reduced multiplier on phasing sequence by 20%.
See, I'm a fan of that.
I am not, because I love phasing sequence. But I can see how cutters rejoice. It's going to be it's going to take me an extra minute or two to kill you through your shields.
But that's long enough to run away.
Well, if you're in one of the big ships, you really shouldn't be dying anyway.
No,
you can leave. You can leave literally whenever you want.
That Innocent Gamer is suggesting that the Thargoids are interdicting my internet. Now, obviously, I'm staying connected, so I am 100% blaming FDev for this.
Yeah, I would too. I think, what is it Josh said? I think a lot of people have been having this issue in the area.
Yeah, that does seem to be a new thing. And because I've been here a few times now, and when it was first discovered, I made my way there as quickly as possible and did a video to cover it. And no problems whatsoever. And now, all of a sudden, whilst we're here tonight, it seems to be over and over again. And it keeps putting me right back at my ship with, I believe, an empty cargo hold. Yep, empty cargo.
So what happened to all your stuff? Did it just disappear?
Well, we're about to have a look. No, it all puts it straight back into the ship. That makes sense.
Interesting. At least you still have it.
Just trying to remember what I was carrying, though. Damn.
Okay, here's one. I'm really interested to see what people think about this. The hauler, the Type 6, keelback, Type 7, and Type 9 all got their base hull values doubled.
Big improvement. Big improvement. It makes it a lot more useful.
Yeah, I would say so. Well, more useful, and I'm going to say it's going to be a little bit harder for the rogue element to randomly kill them.
Rogue element.
I'm trying to be nice. I probably shouldn't, but I'm trying.
Let's call them what they are. Pirates. If you thought I was going to say griefers, then
I'd be lying if I said no. But yeah, I think oh man, yeah, I noticed it on the keelback. I have 2 keelbacks actually. I was going to bring one out here for this today, but I decided against it. But even though it's going to help out a lot with a lot of the more common trader ships that you see. I mean, especially with the Type 6, for instance. I mean, it's relatively quick for a trade ship, but its shielding is really, really weak, and that's assuming you even have shields on it at all. So I'm glad to see that at least the Type 6 and the keelback are going to benefit from some extra hull, because they have no shields whatsoever.
I think it's much needed, because trade ships, they are, I always get roasted whenever I compare things to real life. But if you're looking at, say a cab over truck, it hits something small, even if it's built for speed, it just goes straight through it. So it makes sense for them to be much stronger and more robust.
And then, okay, here's another thing. The military slots. I'm sure everyone who's got any of the ships that can use them, I'm sure you all love them. At least I know I do. The vet, for instance, 2 size 5s. I'm loving that. I personally put module defense packages in those. I find that to be the most useful thing. Even the Eagle got one. The Eagle got a size 2.
Yeah, that Instant Gamer. Military slots, yes. So they go into the core internals, and all military ships, which is most combat ships, with the exception of pretty much the FDL, which is classed as I guess a luxury combat vessel or a private combat vessel instead of a military one. They've all gained additional slots where you can equip purely military equipment. So it's kind of SCBs, module reinforcement packages, and hull reinforcement packages.
Yeah, I'm finding that to be extremely useful, because for the ships that can use them, here, I'll read these off. Let's see, the Eagle, the Imperial Eagle, both got 1 class 2. The Viper 3 and 4 both got 1 Class 3. The Vulture has 1 size 5. The Federal Dropship got 2 size 4s. The Gunship got 3 size 4s. The Assault Ship got 2. The Cutter and the Corvette both have Class 5s, and the Anaconda has 1 Class 5. Now, here's something interesting for you. The Vulture and the Anaconda both have 1 Class 5 slot, even though the Anaconda is literally 3 times the size.
Yeah, it's certainly an odd one, but the Vulture, I would say, definitely needs a little something extra. It's quite a basic combat ship, even just for what is meant to be a superiority fighter. I think it needs a bit of a boost. But then you encounter this problem with weight. And,
yeah. No, Cold's, it does have diminishing returns. If you stack 2 of the 60% ones, I think the math worked out to 83% or somewhere thereabouts. It was something like that. It was very close. It's also worth pointing out the Class E and D. The Class E has about 3 times the health pool, but it only absorbs 30%, where the D class absorbs 60, but its health pool is a lot slow, not slower, but lower.
Sorry, Sam. When I was talking about weight issues, it's for frameshift drive jumping, because that's something that I suffer with my Corvette, something chronic. It's leveled up to grade 5, and a decent roll on the jump range, and it still sits just under 17. So that's kind of what I'm talking about on that one. Certainly actual weight, but now if we're talking about reducing its effectiveness as a ship, then that's it.
And Innocent, yes, the Conda does have a military slot. It has 1 Class 1. Not one, Class 1, Class 5. I can't English today. Yeah, the military slots they're interesting, especially with the module reinforcement packages. I'm not even sure how to describe the feeling I had when they said they were adding those in. It was like an immediate, oh yes, finally something new and amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because I put mine in as the. Oh, hang on. Oh, someone just said something to me. Question: are meta alloys part of the puzzle? I've been wanting to ask since beginning. Now chat is working, as I've seen it in your cargo. The answer to that one, Starscream 9121, is I don't know. But it was given to me at the same time as everything else, so I figured I would keep hold of it. I don't think it is, because I feel like meta alloys are definitely part of something very different. As I say, that innocent gamer, he just bunged me some meta alloys, but didn't have a way of picking them up off the ground, so I picked them up.
Oh, and here's one for you. All of you people that have ever become wanted by shooting some NPC's fighter that should have been wanted but was showing up clean, rejoice. That bug has been fixed.
Now, that's interesting, actually. I'm not sure it has, because when we were bounty hunting the other day, I was looking around, and there were a few fighters out there that had the wonderful orange triangle, but their motherships were shooting at me and were red. So I don't know if that's and they were definitely landing shots. They didn't start off as wanted until they shot me, which is a bit bizarre.
That is maybe a little strange. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they tried to fix it and it didn't actually work the way they intended. It's in the patch notes, so keep your eye on it. Hopefully it's working the way it's supposed to.
I should probably do that player-minded thing, which is raise a ticket.
Yeah.
Which I'm notorious for not doing.
Oh, you and me both. I think... Oh, I don't even know how many bugs I've run into over the last few months that I probably should have ticketed, but I never did. This is an interesting one, and I'm trying to figure out what they're talking about. Not spawning more escorts each time we transfer authority to a new authority. What in the world are they talking about there?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
I wonder if maybe they're talking about the times where, like, you're in a has-res and there's no cops, but you still have your crimes turned on. And then the cops start showing up, and then you get like 5 or 6 groups that show up for no reason.
No, it could be that. I must admit, I generally play in has-reses, so they don't turn up at all, which is quite nice because sometimes I get a little bit trigger happy and start shooting before the scan's finished.
Okay. Let's see. And, oh, exquisite focus crystals are back also. I've seen them. Finally, they're back in game. So everyone who's been missing out on grade 5 charge enhanced distributor, you can go and get them now.
Now, something I just want to quickly mention is where I've been scanning these ruins. Obviously, you can see rewards here. I currently have 2 million as my reward, so I've only got 2 data packages, and I've picked up 2 for the alien languages one. And then we've got the mission completion bonus still sitting there as the 100 million credits. And I feel like I'm starting to bang my head against a wall a little bit here. So I'm open to some advice. But certainly good news on the exquisite focus crystals, because I do know that lots of people were having problems with them.
Oh God, yes. I haven't seen one in game until yesterday for, I don't know, 2-3 months, something like that, ever since 2.2 released.
Now, what I really want is there to be an easier way to find modified embedded firmware. Just easier. Don't care what it is.
Well, let's see. Modified embedded firmware. There's a forum post around that somewhere. I have it bookmarked in my browser. It's not that bad. I think I spent 4 hours one day and came out of it with, I think, like 9. And that was before you got 3 for every one you found. So it's not too bad, but it kind of depends. Let's see if I can find it. If I can find it, I will throw it out in chat for people.
Because I have been hunting them down for a very long time. I currently have a huge multi-cannon that is engineered, but it doesn't have any bonus on there because some idiot, we will call him Commander Plater, didn't put the brains behind doing the, oh no, it's okay, I'll take an experimental effect at at the expense of a favor. Yeah, did not do that.
Yeah, the favors. You know, I actually do have somewhat of a beef with that. I don't know. I'm sure everyone else has had this happen to them at some point too. I went to engineer an all multi-cannon loadout on my FDL, and it took me probably 5 or 6 days to finish it, as every time I wanted to force a special effect, I had to go and bounty hunt in the local nav beacon for 4 or 5 hours at a minimum to be able to get enough bounties to bring myself back up to grade 5 and do it all over again. I wish it was a little bit faster with some of these.
Yeah, the grind is real.
Yeah, just a little bit. Let's see. Any other good, interesting fixes that are worth noting? I'm not really seeing anything that's particularly interesting. Most people by now, there is a whole host of changes to some of the weapons, and especially to some of the engineered blueprints. As a matter of fact, what I'll do, I will post a link to the changelog. There's a lot in there, so if you guys are interested in that, I suggest you take a minute to look through it.
I just want to point out, just a little quiet moment there, that I have managed to pick up the ancient data biology research, where they talk about the physical appearance, and also the fact that they have large quantities of alien pornography. Hooray!
That's pretty good.
That was me worried I wasn't going to find anything else remotely interesting. Well, kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think you got the best one of all. Of all things to find there.
Yeah, I must admit the alien images goes a little bit Mass Effect there for a minute, if you guys know what I mean.
Okay, there is one other thing though. I don't know if you saw this in the text document that I showed you earlier, but I think I mentioned it earlier. A good friend of mine, DJ Truthsayer, those of you in the chat might know him, one of the Twitch streamers from the Imperial Inquisition / the Sovereignty. He's currently working on something called the Galactic Broadcasting Corporation. That's going to get pretty interesting. It's not operational yet. We're looking at, I think the last time I talked to him, he's looking at a month and a half, 2 months from now before it's up and running. It's supposed to be a 24-hour rolling news network specifically for Elite Dangerous.
Now that sounds like a really interesting concept.
Yeah, that's what I told him. And he actually PM'd me and was like, hey, jump on my TeamSpeak so I can talk to you about this. And I think we yabbered about it for 2 or 3 hours. It's interesting what he wants to do. He's getting as many player groups. He wants to try and get some of the YouTubers and a whole mess of people in on it. It's like a never-ending live stream of nothing but Elite Dangerous news and content.
It could be interesting.
It's supposed to be. Yeah, it'd be great.
I mean, there's certainly a lot of content makers out there who would put a lot of those things in, and certainly submit a lot of either articles, videos, and you kind of got your rolling playlist and stuff. That would be pretty good.
Yeah, and I think it's the 24-hour aspect that has me interested the most. And that's because that's an awful lot of time to fill. And I don't know how he's going to do it. I think part of the concept is each individual player group submits their own stories. And I think they can do videos and other such things too. And I'm pretty sure different parts of it are going to have live streamers actually hosting the channel for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time or something. I'm not exactly sure, but that's how he was talking the last time I asked him about it.
No, that would be pretty interesting. I mean, straight away what comes to my mind is the Anchorman 2 and the first 24-hour news network, and you kind of make the news. It's just following a chase scene. Unless Paroxysmal, you're going to tell me you haven't seen Anchorman 2. Oh, you are, aren't you?
Yeah, baby.
That is classic you.
Yep.
But
I think you'll find there are some massive gaps in my movie viewing experiences.
It's embarrassing.
It is a little, maybe, but
this is connection errors. I must admit, if this carries on, we'll probably have to call it an evening. But something I do want to mention is hashtag save the dolphin.
Yeah, I'm still impressed that was a thing for at least a couple live streams. That was great.
Definitely hashtag save the dolphin. Big fan, and if everyone watching this can keep this rolling, so every Tuesday live stream that FDev do, you've got to make sure that you're spamming hashtag save the dolphin until we get the dolphin, and then it's going to be hashtag we saved the dolphin.
Yeah, good stuff. And yes, Turgeon, it is a very brave concept, 24-hour rolling news. I honestly, I wish I knew what was going through DJ's head, but you know, it's DJ. So I'm sure he's got a plan. I just don't know what it is. He's not always very good at articulating his thoughts. You just have to kind of wait for him to do it, and then it's usually pretty good.
Oh yeah, sorry, Dat Innocent Gamer. Yes, Ed's live stream.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna claim credit on starting the hashtag Save the Dolphin thing. That was me. That was me, and I'm still impressed that that was a thing for at least a couple live streams. That was, oh, I laughed so hard. I'm saying an oh my god there, Innocent. What is oh my god? Not so much Radio Sidewinder or Lave Radio. It's kind of it's supposed to be, as I understand it, more like how to say, it's more like an actual news channel. The way I understand it is like YouTubers like Plater, myself, Josh, Turgeon will be able to just submit a video, and then that video will be played on stream, and it'll probably just go in a cycle. So I'm assuming, I'm assuming right now that the same stream will probably get played for 2, 3, 4 days, and then a new 24-hour segment gets played, etc., etc. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, that's the way it sounded the last time I talked to DJ.
This is a you heard it here first. Gospel truth from Paroxysm that it will be sorry.
Oh no! Don't pin that on me, dang it.
Definitely, I'm going to take people down. What else was on the list that we wanted to talk about today?
Let's see. I was gonna. Well, one of the things I had on here was the Formidine Rift fouled up again, but it seems like they fixed it at the last minute. So I can't really say that because everyone was just there looking at the settlements yesterday.
Yeah, but it was fouled up. It was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they somehow, I don't know how, but they managed to hot fix it on the server side of things without us ever having to update the client again. So kudos to them for doing that. I don't know what they did, but it's some kind of technical wizardry. Other than that, I cherry-picked all the good stuff out of the patch notes for the most part. Yeah, I think we've pretty much beat everything else to death at this point. We covered all the alien stuff pretty well, so I think that's about it for today, at least as far as what I had written down.
Awesome. I don't think I actually have anything else that I would like to add at this point. I think we've covered lots of stuff in detail.
Oh, actually, we got a good question. Innocent was just asking Elite Wildlife. Where's it at, boy?
Oh, well. You're gonna force a reveal from me here. I am currently working on an Elite Wildlife beluga video, and Paroxysm's actually helped me with it, and I'm very happy to say that it is going to be, hopefully, my masterpiece. So not that I'm promoting it too much or bigging it up too much, but it's hopefully going to be what I would think is entertaining. Massive D loves the beluga.
I hate the beluga. I think it's such a piece of junk. As a matter of fact, for those of you that are on my Discord, I have a comic that I'm going to throw up there here in just a minute, and it perfectly expresses my thoughts on the beluga.
Also, anyone who doesn't know, Proxim loves the orca. It's actually his favourite ship, and he uses it for. Yep, yeah, it is, and he uses it for PvP combat all the time. And he actually runs his own wedding barge, runs around in chats and stuff. Gonna get in trouble now, aren't I?
Yep.
Oh dear.
Give me just a second, Yargon, and I'll throw another invite out. Give me just a minute here. Now that I can actually do it.
Coldza, yes, you good point on the chrome and gold paint job shader improvements. I have both, and I am absolutely loving the chrome Corvette. As everyone always sees me flying in a Corvette, I take it to all of the places that are ridiculously far away, even though I probably shouldn't. I should get something with a bit more range to it. But you know, if you're going to jump, why not jump into every single system you can?
Yeah, so those of you who are in the Discord now, you can see the last post that I just put up is a comic that I made that expresses my thoughts on the Beluga. And also, just to debunk the whole Orca thing now before it gets out of hand, I'll throw this one up too. And yeah, there you go. That's I also put the link to just the picture itself there in the chat. So those of you who want to see my thoughts on the Orca in Beluga, yeah, there you go. No, that's my thoughts. Don't let Plater steer you wrong here.
That is 100% my job. That is exactly what I meant to do. Now, due to another awesome connection error, because that seems to be all I seem to be cursed with tonight, I think we've had a pretty good roundup tonight of everything that we kind of wanted to cover, I would say. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think so. At this point, it's just going to be more randomness than anything else.
Anything I would say, I was just going to throw it out into the chat now. Is there any questions that you guys want us to answer and that are Elite Dangerous related? Make sure I say that, otherwise we'll get something really bizarre. But yeah, certainly anything you guys want to ask us about Elite Dangerous and all that kind of stuff, throw it out now and we'll do our best to answer them. But then we will call it a night, I think. And now we wait.
Yeah.
What was the reward for the mission? Yep, it's 100 million plus well, technically the 100 million is the bonus, and then you get, I think it's 1 million per data you acquire. Innocent, well, since you've beat everything, why don't you go into the Plater private group and do a meetup kind of thing? I think you might actually be the only person here who's actually in the Plater private group, so I feel like it would potentially be mean for everybody, but certainly I will catch you at another time. But do we have any other questions?
Questions, comments, concerns, exploding belugas and orcas. I'll take that too.
Yeah, definitely.
The Viper. What specifically about the Viper? Are you talking about like my opinion of the ship itself as a whole, or something more specific?
Oh, how do you join your private group? My private group's just called Plater, by the way. We're going to be using Paroxsymal's private group mainly for streaming, so we don't particularly want it full of lots of people. Not saying we don't trust you, but we don't. But yeah, so if you want to join my private group, just search Plater and you can get in there. Innocent, that was exactly one of my comments to Paroxym about the Beluga when we were filming.
Gillen, is it still a valid fighter type? I would say yes. The addition of the military slots, and with the Viper also getting a 10-ton hull reduction, I would say yes. It has just enough firepower to be useful, and its hardpoint locations are in a spot that makes it easy to use fixed weapons, if that's your thing also. So I would say yes. It needs a little bit of a different flight style to make it work, but it does work. Personally, I really like the Viper 3, and I run my player group's flight school every Friday, and that's actually the ship that I make everybody fly, because it does kind of force you to really pay attention to your flight skills. I personally really like the ship. I really do.
Okay, we'll do a couple of last questions. So, Willot, in the new discovery of the Formidine Rift, a decoded message they found a habitable planet. Are going to get a resolution for a while since they say habitable world. Something that we were talking about earlier during the stream is that the habitable world, they say they found a system with a habitable world, but they didn't say they actually settled on a habitable world.
Thoughts on the FDL as a combat ship? Personally, my main ship is an FDL, so I'm a little bit biased on this one. I'm going to tell you straight out that I love it as a combat ship. The recent balance pass on things, in my opinion, has knocked it down a notch or two as far as overall effectiveness, but as long as you're not being slightly mental with it, I still think the FDL can be an extremely effective combat ship. I love it. It has strong shielding for its size. It's pretty fast, and it's definitely maneuverable. So there's that. And 5 hard points on that ship, one of which being a class 4, does pretty well. And yes, that's dedication.
Definitely is. I think we're going to call it time there. We kind of gave ourselves a 2-hour slot, and I'm surprised that we made it as far as we have, with you guys sitting there watching me drive an SRV badly. So I'm going to do my classic sign off that I tend to do on my videos, and I say thank you for watching. I've been Commander Plater, and I would like to invite you all guys to subscribe if you haven't already, and obviously if you have, thanks for turning up. And also make sure you go to Paroxsymal's channel as well to check out his stuff. We're going to be alternating the stream between channels, so make sure you guys do go over to his channel, subscribe. His content is a little bit more analytical than mine and much better produced, so do go and check it out.
Yep. So I will also see you guys next time around. Next stream, as he said, is going to be on my channel, so keep an eye out for announcements both on his channel and mine, and we will let you know exactly what time and when the next one is going to be. So until then, I will see you guys next time.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. Commander Plater out.